Hey friends, thanks for stopping by my YouTube channel. I really appreciate you being here. So the topic for discussion today is comparison. Is it working for you or is it holding you back? It's a deep dive. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Feel free to drop a like, leave a comment, and send this video to anyone that you think may find it helpful. So let's dive right into it. Comparison. Is it inspiring you to make positive changes and do really great things, or is it paralyzing you with fear and stopping you from even trying? It can go both ways. Typically when we look at comparison and when it's working for us or holding us back, we're usually looking at things that are important to us. So if something doesn't really matter that much in our lives, like let's just use an example, like you don't really care what Becky is doing in terms of how many kilometers a week she's clocking for running, because you don't really like running. It's not really gonna impact you. You're not really gonna feel bad about yourself. You're not really gonna feel inspired to start running because you don't really like running. It's not something that's important to you. It's typically when something is really valuable to us that we find ourselves comparing. We use other people's success or failures as kind of like a yardstick to see how we're doing. So I think there's a couple things to look at here. First, examine when you are comparing yourself against someone, what happened, what precipitated this comparison. Did you just have a workout? And I think the CrossFit Open is a really great example. The leaderboard is comparison city, right? So if you do CrossFit, then the worldwide competition presents an opportunity for people to compare themselves to their peers across the world, other people who are in the same category as them, and see how they're doing in a certain workout. So typically what'll happen is, especially for people that it's really important to, they've got big goals, they'll hop on that leaderboard as soon as they're done their workout and see how they're doing against everyone else. And no matter how hard they try, no matter what the result is of their workout, if they don't see themselves beating certain people or being at a certain spot on the leaderboard, all of a sudden their effort just wasn't good enough. We see this happen a lot in CrossFit. So you could set a goal and be like, this is what I want to accomplish. You could accomplish that, compare yourself to your peers, and then all of a sudden it's not good enough. So this is obviously where comparison just really isn't serving you. A couple things to really think about when we talk about comparison is what are our data points? What metrics are we using? So if we're just looking at a workout, just a pure result, for example, on this CrossFit leaderboard, it's easy to kind of be down on ourselves and be like, oh, I got 260 reps and she got 264 reps. I'm an absolute failure. I'm gonna hate myself for the next 4 days until I have an opportunity to, try again. And the thing is you have no idea what that person's life looks like, next to yours. And this is the case for 99% of the people that are looking at the whiteboard, the leaderboard. You don't know how much did this person work this week? What sort of supports do they have in place? Do they, there's all these other things. Do they have kids? Are they taking care of a loved one? Are they not? Are they just working out full time because they have nothing else going on? So it's so easy to get caught up in just their score against my score and feel really terrible about yourself. I think one of the powerful things that we can do is just set goals for ourselves and go after those goals and measure against how close did I come to what I wanted to accomplish, and really kind of keep yourself zoned in on that. If I have a goal of deadlifting 300 pounds and I get there, I gotta be happy with that. It doesn't matter if Susan deadlifted 320, that was never my goal. So I think setting goals for yourself and staying focused and really staying in your lane and ticking boxes and feeling a sense of accomplishment about your goals and your efforts is really, really important. I'll use business as an example. I'm very focused on my fitness and nutrition coaching service, and it can be very easy for me to look at social media and be like, wow, this other coach is so successful. They have so many followers, and I'm using that one metric. Oh my gosh, look at how many followers this account has. thinking like somehow it's telling me something about this person's business when it tells me nothing. And I've had to really work through that myself, in this industry, being like, it doesn't matter if somebody has more followers. What does that tell me? It doesn't tell me anything about, I don't even know what their goals are with their business. Maybe we have two completely different goals. Maybe this person wants, 500 to 1,000 clients, and I want 50. How can we compare, right? So you have to, when you think about comparison, we tend to have this like lens, and I think sometimes we need to, really expand and like look at the bigger picture and ask ourselves to be reasonable. For example, in the case of the business, what are this? If I'm comparing myself to another business, what are their goals versus my goals? How are they doing? Like, I know nothing about this business in terms of like, are they even successful? Do they have good relationships with their clients? Like, this is important stuff for me. So if I'm going to compare, I need to compare all of those things, right? So keeping comparison in check, basically. If it's serving you and you're inspired and you're following someone that posts like aspirational stuff, gives great advice, and you find yourself feeling good after you consume their content, feeling good with the interactions that you have with them, then that's where comparison can really serve you. But if you're constantly feeling like crap about yourself, couple things. Take some ownership. So ask yourself, like, why does this have this sort of power over me? And am I working hard enough on the goals that I have? Am I really applying myself? Like, I have this deadlift goal that I work out like once every 2 weeks. Then, you got to take some ownership for that. Maybe you wouldn't feel so bad if you were actually working towards the goal that you have, right? And then really, last but not least, if it's a comparison where it's like, this is just not serving you in the sense that you can't stop looking at something that is just making you feel really bad about yourself all the time, then you probably just need to kind of figure out, how to sort of cleanse your intake. So maybe it's unfollowing people on social media, maybe it's spending less time in a certain environment or with a certain person, because at that point you've kind of looked at every other piece and realized, like, this comparison is just not serving me, this person isn't serving me, this space isn't serving me, so I'm gonna move on. But first, kind of do the work. After we look at, are we working hard enough at the goals that we have? Because I think often if we can step back and we can say, I've got this goal and I'm really applying myself, it doesn't really matter what other people are doing. We're focused. We feel good about that effort. But if we move past that and we're still like, oh God, this really isn't working for me, then we can start looking at, like I said, creating a better environment for ourselves, whether that's through social media, through our reality, and not giving ourselves that opportunity to paralyze ourselves with fear of failure and just there's no point in even trying. I hope that you find this helpful. I know comparison is a really tricky thing. I guess it really comes down to, for me, that big ownership piece, and I think that's a whole other video and a whole other topic about how personal accountability and extreme ownership can be so beneficial. I just really feel like it applies when we talk about comparison as well. It's just that accountability, ownership for what you're doing, and probably finding that comparison doesn't have as big of a negative impact on you when you can do that. Thanks, guys.